4,000 years before the rise of the Empire, in the turbulent era of the Old Republic, one artifact stood as a beacon of defiance and the harbinger of darkness. Darth Revan's mask. It wasn't merely a piece of armor, it was a vow etched in blood, a symbol that transformed a Jedi into a Sith Lord, and a relic that echoed through centuries. Today, we're embarking on a deep dive into its origins, its profound psychological impact, and its lasting legacy.
Showtime, a-holes!
All right, let's do this one last time.
To understand the mask, we must go back to the Mandalorian Wars, a galaxy-spanning conflict that pitted the Mandalorian Neo-Crusaders against the Republic and the Jedi. In 3973 BBY, as detailed in Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 42, the Mandalorians unleashed a horrific genocide on the planet Cathar, wiping out much of its native species. Amid the carnage, an unidentified Mandalorian female warrior stood her ground, protecting the innocent. She wore a red and grey mask as part of her armor, a standard for her people, but this one would become legendary. She fell in battle, her mask left on the bloody shores. 10 years later, in 3963 BBY, Jedi Knight Revan arrived on Cathar, searching for evidence of this atrocity to rally the Jedi Council. Revan experienced visions of the Mandalorian's final stand. Moved by her sacrifice, he claimed the mask, vowing never to remove it until the Mandalorians were defeated. This wasn't just a practical choice, it was a profound commitment. As Revan led his rogue Jedi faction, the Revanites, into the fray, the mask evolved from a personal vow into a powerful symbol. In Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, Revan wears it as part of his personal armor throughout his campaigns. Dialogues in the game, such as the conversation with Yutu Raban on Korriban, reference how the mask concealed his identity, making him an enigmatic figure to allies and enemies alike. It hid his expressions, rendering him unreadable, a psychological edge in battle. But why did it matter so much? Mitra Surik, Revan's close ally, later reflected that without the mask, Revan seemed more human, but with it, he was an icon, a shaper of history defined by the deeds rather than appearance. This insight comes from Star Wars The Old Republic, Revan, the novel, where the mask's symbolic weight is explored. During the wars, it inspired fear in the Mandalorians and hope in the Republic forces. Yet, as Revan delved deeper into the conflict, the mask began to represent something darker, his growing willingness to embrace ruthless tactics, foreshadowing his fall to the dark side. The Mandalorian Wars culminated in Revan's victory at Malachor V, but victory came at a terrible cost. With the mask firmly in place, Revan crossed into Sith space, where he and his companion Malak were corrupted by the Sith Emperor. In Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, we see the mask as the face of Darth Revan, the Dark Lord who waged the Jedi Civil War. Its red streaks, evoking blood, mirrored the violence he unleashed. The psychological impact deepened here. As Bastia Shan feared in the game's narrative, the mask could restore Revan's original persona if rediscovered, pulling him back to the dark side. This fear proved prescient. In Star Wars The Old Republic, Revan, the novel, Mitra Surik retrieves the mask from Sith possession and returns it to Revan on Dromut Kaas. The moment he dons it, all his lost memories flood back. Jedi, Sith, everything. The novel describes this as a pivotal reconnection, highlighting how the mask wasn't just armor, it was a vessel for his fractured identity. Centuries later, the mask resurfaced, bearing the scars of time. In Star Wars The Old Republic, during the Foundry flashpoint, Revan wears it in confrontation, now damaged with a vertical scratch, a mark of his enduring battles. This damage is further seen in the Rise of the Hutt Cartel's expansion, Flashpoint Legacy of the Rakata. But the mask story doesn't end with Revan. It became central to the Revanites, a cult emulating his teachings. As detailed in the novel of the Old Republic Revan, the Revanites viewed it as a holy relic. In the Shadow of Revan expansion, during the mission The Enemy Within on Yavin 4, Revan's dark half wears the mask until his physical death, leaving it behind as a final symbol. This underscores its legacy, a bridge between Revan's light and dark sides, influencing generations. Revan's mask doesn't exist in isolation. Its identity-erasing design parallels Darth Nihilist's mask in Knights of the Old Republic 2, both amplifying their wearer's disconnection from humanity. Symbolically, it ties to other dark artifacts, like the Star Forge in Knights of the Old Republic's final mission, a corrupting force much like the mask's psychological hold. And in the broader Old Republic lore, it connects the Sith to the Emperor's manipulations, as seen in the Old Republic flashpoints. These threads show how one mask wove into the fabric of galactic history. From a Mandalorian sacrifice on Cathar to a relic abandoned on Yavin 4, Darth Revan's mask embodies the eternal struggle between the light and dark. It shaped a legend, restored lost memories, and inspired a cult. What do you think? Was the mask Revan's greatest ally or his ultimate prison? Share in the comments, like if you want more Old Republic deep dives, and subscribe for the next.